That was wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Sylina, and I promised I would say the last name correctly, although she doesn't use it too much. Buenet. Better known as Sylina Two Bears, is with us today. And I think Two Bears is much easier to pronounce. She is a 7th-generation healer, channel, hypnotherapist, and intuitive. She has worked in the medicine ways of her Creek and Cherokee ancestors with her grandmother since she was very, very young. And that's evident. She is an old soul who has studied greatly. She has spent many years studying the shamanic techniques and ceremonial practices with the Mayan elders in Guatemala. She has worked as an instructor at the Edgar Cayce Association of Research and Enlightenment, teaching skills for deeper connection and communication with spirit. Sylina holds a Ph.D. in Herbal Medicine, Metaphysical Sciences, and Divinity. And she has dedicated her life to raising the consciousness of this planet and to serving her community through these healing modalities. Those are the facts. Beyond the facts is the spirit, is the light, is the truth of the woman's soul. I've gotten several opportunities to spend time with Sylina, and the facts are nothing compared to the light that she is. And we are delighted and blessed to have her in our presence today. It is truly a gift. Will you please welcome Sylina Two Bears?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. It is beyond an honor. I am so grateful to be here. Thank you for such a warm and lovely welcome. Richard, thank you, thank you, thank you. I know you're going downstairs, but thank you.
I'm going to the Spanish ministry.
Thank you so much. Adios. Buenos dias. So before we start, I would love to invite Kathy and Jenny, the young lady that, where is she? Where'd she go? She does the chanting. Julie. So sorry. So I'm looking, but I do not. There she is. So I would love to invite you guys to come up and do the chant before we go into a talk, and then we'll chant, and I'll go directly into the meditation as well. And I would be amiss if I did not welcome and say thank you to the Soul Medicine tribe and family. If you guys would stand, please, and represent your tribe in a good way, in a good way. So we're repositioning, and we're going to wait to do the meditation towards the end. But I do need to ask, how long do I have? Oh, no, you don't want to say that. I'm on native time. You do not want to say that. 25 minutes and a half hour. Let me just take a quick peek at what time it is so that I can make sure I stay on.
We try to be done around 12:30 since it's an annual meeting, but we definitely want to hear what you have to say.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. How many of you know you're enough? Raise your hand high. Now, how many of you really, really, really know you are enough? You don't look in the mirror and you don't do things and say things like, I'm not tall enough, I'm not short enough, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not smart enough. Oh, that was idiotic. Oh, that was a stupid thing to do.
Okay, so this course, more than any...
Because here we say, we're enough, right? We get it. We say we're enough. We know that we're enough. We know that the great spirit, the great mystery, Tenkashala Wakatanka Mahio, is what we call this in my native language. This creator made us in that image, made us magnificent, made us more than we could ever even imagine. So we say this here, but do we say this here? accept it in our heart? Do we know that with every step that we take on our gentle Mother Earth, that we are enough, that we are loved, we are cherished, we are adorned, we are powerful, we are strong, we are magnificent, we are phenomenal, and we make a difference in this world every single second, every single moment, with every breath we take and every word we speak. We make a difference. So I find that as I walk through this circle of life, that here I can say many, many things. But here I need to unite. There's a prophecy, and the prophecy says, when the eagle and the condor fly together, then the red people, the white people, the black people, and the yellow people will sit around the powwow drum, and we will drum together, and there will be harmony and peace, because there will be a new heaven and a new earth. This time is now. To unite our head and our heart is so much easier said than done. How many of you would agree with that? So much easier said than done. Dr. Wayne Dyer, I love him. Love him, love him. I still talk about him and talk with him in the present tense because he's always with me. I love him. I love what he stood for. I loved how he spoke. I loved how he defied. And he stood up. Even when the masses were saying no and pushing back, he still stood centered and rooted and strong, teaching, you are enough. You are amazing and you're beautiful. Deepak Chopra, he's been here. Amazing, wonderful, enlightened, teaching, you are enough. You're amazing and you're phenomenal. Oprah Winfrey, teaching, you are enough. Eckhart Tolle, teaching, you are enough. Rumi, teaching, you are enough. So we hear here, but to put it here and to bring it here takes work. Wouldn't you agree? It takes work. Why? Because here in this beautiful sanctuary with you amazing beings, it's easier to accept that we are enough because we are like-minded. We know that we have the spark of the Creator within us. There are many spiritual books, whether it's the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, the Kabbalah, the Torah, that say that we are enough. Jesus said, even you shall do greater things than I, because I am going to the Father. Do you know that you can do greater things? Do you accept that you can do greater things? Today, if you take nothing else from what I share with you, it is that you are enough. That in the being enough, there's great responsibility. Wouldn't you agree? Because when we understand that we are enough, when we understand that we have the power, the Bible says He gave us a sound mind and power. He did not make us to believe that we were less than, to believe that we didn't make a difference, to believe that we were a victim and, oh, we just had to go along. He said He gave us the power. When we accept this power, we root it in, then we make a stand and we change this world in an instant. But so many of us, we say it here, but there's a block and we don't accept it here. Because from the time we're born in this world, How many of you were born, and I really want you to think about this before you raise your hand. You were born, and everyone around you, your mother, your fathers, your aunts, your uncles, your neighbors, your cousins, your professors, your teachers, your doctors, your pastors, your preachers, your popes, all told you that you were powerful, you could do anything, nothing was impossible. Raise your hand. So from the time we come to this planet and we're born, we hear of limitations, don't we? We hear what's possible and what's impossible. We hear about what we can do and what we can't do. When in actuality, if a child was told from the very beginning that they could do anything that they set their mind to, and that's all they heard, whether it was from the radio, the TV, whether it was from school. In Japan, they actually did a study. And I have to tell you about this study because it's magnificent and it goes along with what I'm saying. So if you told this child they could do anything and you showed them great possibilities, for example, you showed them how they can manipulate energy. And I don't like the word manipulate because we're taught manipulation is a bad thing. But if I take a steel spoon and I show you how to bend it through your energy, not through your strength, but through your energy, allowing the energy of whether you want to call it the Christ consciousness or the Krishna consciousness or the God mind or the higher self, but you bent that metal just from your thought, many of you would say that's a miracle. So if we showed our children these things from the time they were young and little and told them that they could do anything that they set their mind to, it would be a very different place that we live in today. So in Japan, they did this study, and where children were left at birth, they took them and they took them off into the woods. They didn't allow them to listen to radio or TV, but what they did is they taught them. They taught them like my grandmother taught me. We didn't sit in front of a TV. My grandmother taught me outside, would take me out, and every morning have me watch the sunrise and give thanks. Give thanks for a new day. Because if the sun did not shine upon us, everything that we know and have would freeze within 18 hours, even the blood in our veins. So to give thanks. She taught me to look at the winged ones and to watch how they flew and how they could see from a higher perspective than me. And then she taught me how to look at a caterpillar and see how that perspective was different. And then when the caterpillar morphed into a butterfly, how suddenly its entire earth was different. Because before it could only see from here, and now it could see from a higher perspective. So they took them out into nature, and they taught them that they could do anything that they set their mind to do. And these children now are doing magnificent things. They play a game. It's called hide and seek, and it's very different from the hide and seek that we see and we were taught. When we taught hide and seek, we hid our eyes and we counted from 1 to wherever we could count. Sometimes it was 10, sometimes it was 100, and sometimes we skipped all around and just said 100 when we got there. And you would hide and we would go find, right? These children are being taught hide and seek in this way. They're taught to open their third eye, their pineal gland. We all have it. It's a physical gland inside, about 3 inches behind the forehead, in the center of the brain. And if you look, most people will be familiar with the mark that's in the forehead. That's what the Bible says. It doesn't say on the forehead, it says in the forehead. That in the last days, those that have the mark in the forehead. So they're teaching them how to activate this pineal gland that's inside. And then they go hide things. And the children tell them exactly where they are. Exactly. The children are also taking a little silver spoon and they put it in their pocket. And another way they play hide and seek is you have to guess whose pocket it's in. And you just saw it went in Julie's pocket, and so you come to Julie and you go, it's in your pocket. And she goes, nope. And all of a sudden it's in somebody else's pocket. Because they manipulated the energy. We're all energy. We're very little physical. And science has finally caught up to this. 25 years ago when I was teaching this, I was called many things. They were not necessarily nice because science hadn't proven it. But here, I have a question for you. Do you believe air exists? Do you believe air exists? Yes. Can you see it? Can you see air? Is it around you? Do you see it? Do you see it with your physical eyes? Try going without breathing, though. You find out really quickly it's a very present matter. We only see about 1% in the visual spectrum, and we only hear about 1% in the auditory spectrum. And so science has finally caught up and said, oh, wait a minute, yes, everything is energy. We're energy, the chair is energy, it's just vibrating differently. This is more dense, so it appears more solid than what I am and what you are. And we each vibrate at a different frequency, and the earth also has a frequency. And that this frequency that Mother Earth has, and I call her my mother because she is, she grows everything I need to eat. She produces, by the standing nation out there, oxygen that I need to breathe. The water that runs in her veins are the same water that runs in your veins. So we're connected. We're connected not only to the earth and to the Creator, because we have that spark that's within us. The kingdom of God lies where? Within you. So if you look at the King James Version, it says, in the midst of you. Midst and within were interchangeable, but within you. So when you really accept that you are enough, then you take on the great responsibility of how to change this world. And right now our world is hurting. How many of you would agree with that? The earth is being poisoned at such a rapid rate. Our mother cannot sustain this. And so then she unleashes hurricanes or earthquakes only because she needs to offset and bring into balance something. And people say, oh, Mother Nature is angry. And I think, well, if you had somebody pouring poison into you every day, stomping on you, taking from you, raping you, every day, at what point would you not lash back? Because you need to bring into balance. How many of you get angry sometimes? It's okay. I just love it when people say, I'm spiritual, I don't get angry. I'm like, well, then you're missing the whole human experience. So we get angry, and what do we do with this anger? We need a way to express it, to let it out. Now, we can do this in negative ways, and we see this a lot with our young. Our young right now, they're hurting because they look into the world, and they see a world in which it goes directly against their soul and their spirit. And they say, I can't handle this, so I need to numb this out. So the way I'm going to express myself is I'm going to do it through drugs or alcohol because I need to numb my spirit. I can't look into the world and see that there is good and there is love and there is hope and there is compassion. So they're looking in the world and they're seeing all of these atrocities and their soul is screaming. So what they do is they numb it. So we could do it that way and express our anger and our rage and our hurt and our pain that way. We could go to the gym and we could work out or do kickboxing or tai chi or qigong or yoga and expend the energy this way. This is a more positive way to be able to expend that energy, but we have to let go of this energy in some way, just as if Mother Earth needs to let go of this energy in some way. So when she does this through her emotions, and her emotions show up in ways of the weather, in ways of the currents, in ways of earthquakes, in ways of tornadoes and hurricanes. Not because she's trying to make you pay or us pay, but she's trying to say, I need help. Does this get your attention? So when we accept that we're enough, then we take on that responsibility. And no longer can we look the other way and say, oh, well, I'm going to pretend like I don't see this. I'm going to pretend like I don't see this. But we say, no, I see this. And this requires my attention. And where my attention flows, my intention goes. Where my intention goes, my energy flows. Where my energy flows, then there's a shift and a change. So in every word we speak, And every thought that we have, we're sending out a vibration. We're creating. Because the kingdom of God is where? Within. The kingdom of God is within you. You have the power. The question is, will you accept the power? No longer can we listen to someone tell us that we are less than, or we have to wait for somebody else to come along to make a change. Where two or more are gathered, there I am. How many would you say are here today? Just a roundabout. About 300? Where two or more are gathered, what happens where 300 are gathered? What if we all unite our intention and attention and energy? We make a change like this. This is known more in other cultures. India, Thailand, they teach their young from a young age to meditate, to center their energy. What is meditation? Grandmother taught me this. Prayer is a way that people speak to the Creator, the great mystery. Meditation is stilling and quieting so you can hear that creation speak back to you. The cosmos, the intellect, whether you call this God or Buddha or Gaia or Vishnu, Shiva or Ziva. Many names this has been called. But when we quiet and center, then we can hear that still small voice, as Richard said, inside. But sometimes it comes outside of us. Has anyone ever walked up to you and said something to you that just almost knocked you off your feet because you're like, how did they know that? But they just said it so nonchalantly, just going off. They just said something and it really hit you and they had no idea and they just went on and you were... This again is the way the Creator, the great mystery, speaks to us. It's not just inside of us, but sometimes those messages, if we've been getting the message inside but we haven't listened, has that ever happened to you? Where you got a message and you heard it and you knew it, but you kind of just ignored it a little bit. You went about, because you were busy, you had things going on, right? I mean, life happens. And then all of a sudden, somebody comes up to you and says something like, well, you should read this book. And then a couple days later, somebody else says, hey, have you heard of this book? And then a couple days later, somebody else says, I was reading this book. And about the third time, you go, okay, I got it. I'll read the book. I got it. Or I'll write the book. Okay, I got it. I'll write the book. Or I'll sing the book. Boy, such beautiful voices. Thank you. What a blessing. But you get these messages. But then when life happens and we get into stress or turmoil, how many of you right now are living the life of your dreams? The life that you've always, always wanted. You wouldn't change anything about it. You absolutely adore everything about it. It's awesome. It's incredible. You wake up every single morning and you're just, this is an amazing life to live. How many of you are living that life, like rooted into it, you know? Some of you are. Let's give them a hand. What gave you this life? You co-create with the Creator. So as soon as you accepted that you were enough, you were powerful enough, good enough, cared for enough, adorned enough, you did deserve that promotion at work. You did deserve to be able to live in a home that you felt was safe. You did deserve the raise that came. You did deserve the partner that came to you that was just amazing. And you're like, what did I do? What did I do to get this? But you said, I am enough. And I receive this. And so it is. So when we look at all these great teachers, Deepak, Wayne, Oprah, Eckhart, I could go on and on and on. They have rooted in and are teaching how you can have the life and the world that you deserve. The question is, do you understand what you deserve? So many of us will look in the mirror and will say, what's that? What is that? My hair. I'm having a bad hair day. Oh, gosh. Or you'll look in the mirror and you'll say, I'm not smart enough. Or you'll do something, you'll go, well, that was stupid. So I have one question for you. How many of you believe that the great mystery, whatever you call that, makes mistakes? So if you believe that that great mystery does not make a mistake, that great mystery made you. And you, all of you. All of you. All of you. All of you. Then when you say that you are not enough, whether it's a thought or whether it's in your heart, then what you're saying is the Creator's creation is lacking and is a mistake. My grandmother taught me that the Creator expresses himself, herself, itself through us. That spark that's in each one of us is the Creator saying, I want to experience life through you and you and you and you. And I'm learning. It's almost like little computers, data banks that are uploading into this cosmic universal consciousness that is learning that, hey, I wanted to have that expression. I wanted to see what that was like in human form. So here you are. So when we understand that we are that creation and that we co-create, and that through our experiences, it doesn't necessarily need to be, I'm bad, I'm wrong. You can look back. How many of you have done something, say 5 years ago, or if you're my age, it could be 25 or 30 years ago, and you look back and you go, how did I ever think that was okay to do that? How many of you have done that? You look back at something you did and you said, and if you're not all raising your hand, you know you're fibbing. You're not telling the truth. Because we've all done that. We've looked back and we said, how did I rationalize that that was okay? But we did it. Now, we could look back and say, I'm a horrible person. I'm so terrible. That's awful. I have guilt. Oh, so much guilt and so much shame for that. And that vibrates at a very dense level. Guilt and shame vibrate really, really dense. And so how are you supposed to evolve? And I love the word evolve because it's love backwards. Without love, you cannot evolve. Isn't that beautiful? So take that with you, please. You cannot evolve without love. So how can I evolve if I'm staying in this dense vibration of guilt and shame? So what if we looked at it and we said, okay, I made that decision, I made that choice, and I lived through that experience, and I learned all of these things. And through that, I became a more compassionate, loving, caring being. I will share with you, if it could be done, I've probably done it. I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I have drank. I have done drugs. I have been faithful. I have been unfaithful. I have lived a myriad of lives in one. And if I looked back at every mistake that I made, I would look at them as mistakes. But what if I looked at them as experiences? How can I truly have compassion and love for someone who's homeless? Very different than if you've been homeless. How many of you have been homeless? You look at it very differently, don't you, than before you were homeless. I've been homeless. So when I walk past someone, I don't rationalize in my mind why I shouldn't give to them. Oh, they probably are a drug addict. They probably are an alcoholic. I'm not going to give my money to them. So if they are a drug addict or they are an alcoholic and they are suffering severe DTs and they take the money that I have given them and they go and get a bottle of alcohol to ease their pain, that is not mine to judge. For I, one day, will pass from this physical body. My grandmother said, we just keep coming back to have more experiences, to have more compassion. So I have compassion because I was there. Now, I did have compassion always for people that were homeless, but it was very different before versus when I had actually faced it from a personal. So what if your experiences were not mistakes? What if you were just learning? You were just evolving, and you were becoming more loving and kind and caring and giving and compassionate and strong. What doesn't kill you shall make you stronger. There are many songs of that today. Many songs. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So if we have this pineal gland inside of us, and René Descartes, 17th century French philosopher, said it was the seat of the soul. So if we have this gland, and this gland somehow keeps us very connected to Source, Creator, to teach us and to show us that even you shall do greater things. If we have this gland, how many of you, if you really, really knew you had this part of your body that when you really connected to it and you kept it healthy and you kept it strong, you would do everything you could to take care of that? How many of you, if you really knew that if you took care of it, you could do greater things than even Jesus did? How many of you would say, I would take care of it? I would do whatever I need to take care of it. I would put my focus there, my energy there. Okay. So this pineal gland, it's in the shape of a pine cone. And the pine cone, I'm going to use so that I don't misspeak. So the pine cone, and then I'm running out of time, so I have to be very, very fast. So the pine cone has been around for many, many, many years. Let's see. We have Dionysus that carried a staff that had a pine cone. The Pope has a staff that has a pine cone. The Vatican has over a 30-foot pine cone right in front of the Vatican. It's golden, by the way. It has a pine cone. The pine cones have been around in ancient Assyrian palace carvings dating back from 713 to 716 BC, all with pine cones. Pine cones appear regularly in the Freemasons' octagons. Pine cones. So what is so special about a pine cone? Inside, that little pineal gland is shaped like a pine cone. And actually, in some of the carvings, it shows the god with a pine cone going straight towards the center of the forehead. The Bible says the mark in the forehead, not on the forehead. Matthew says, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. In Revelations, it talks about don't be found asleep or in darkness. The pineal gland actually works with the sleep circadian rhythm. So it alters your sleep cycle. It's connected very closely to the thalamus. When Jacob battled all night long Jacob battled. He'd sent his wife, his servants away, and he was left alone. And he battled all night and struggled. How many of you struggle with your mind? You struggle with your mind. He battled all night long. And finally the voice said, let me go, it is daylight. And he said, I will not until you bless me. And the voice said, your name is no longer Jacob, it is Israel. And we talk about the 12 tribes of Israel. The children of Israel. And the place became known as Pineal. So if you knew you had this special place in you, that if you put your awareness there, if you took care of it, you could really accept all of the power that flows through you from Source. My question to you is, would you do it? So how do we take care of it? And I'll be very quick because then we can move into the chant meditation. The pineal gland is extremely sensitive to metals. It's very sensitive to fluoride. Fluoride is in your water. Fluoride was first used in Nazi Germany in the concentration camps by Hitler because it calcifies the pineal gland. It makes you complacent. How many of you can look around and say, there are a lot of people that are just choosing to look the other way? Complacency. They found that when you hit puberty, that was the largest that your pineal gland was, and that if you continued to keep your focus there and keep it clean, that it would stay. But most people after puberty, it begins to calcify through things that we eat and things that we drink, toxins that we breathe. They actually found also that the Caucasian culture was way more susceptible to a calcified pineal gland than the African American culture. So this puts a different spin on things. So if you want to take care, one of the things that you can do is start limiting all fluoride intake. Begin to detox your body from heavy metals. Meditation activates and stimulates the pineal gland. Some people say, I can't meditate because I don't know how to do it. There is no wrong way and there's no right way. But today, I would like to give you a small example. You can do guided meditations, silent meditations. You can do where all you have to do is focus on your breath, breathing fully and exhaling fully, even if it's 5 minutes, centering your energy. Your pineal gland is activated through that. It has the same fluid as your eyes. It has the same cones and rods as your actual physical eyes, the pineal gland does. So I invite you today, will you accept that you're enough? Will you unite the eagle and the condor to fly together so we can live in peace and harmony? You do make a difference. You're an amazing being. You are filled with light and love. You are an expression of the great mystery. Today I ask you, receive that, accept that, and know that you will create a new earth filled with love and harmony if you so choose. I ask if you would like to come up and chant, and then we'll do a small meditation.
Please join us. And I chose this song specifically with your topic. It's I Am More, knowing that we are enough.
Open your palms and begin to focus on your breath, breathing in through the nose, allowing your belly to expand and your chest to open and your heart space to become full until you can accept no more breaths. And then hold and ask yourself, how does this feel to be full of the breath of life, the breath of creation? And as you exhale, blow away any thoughts, any concerns, any worries, gently and softly, until you're empty and no more air will escape your lips. And hold in this empty space to feel how it feels to be empty. And then begin your next inhalation, bringing each breath into fullness and each exhalation into empty. Allow the flute to carry you softly into that still space. Each exhalation, you relax and release, and each inhalation pulls your awareness inward. And as you breathe, feeling and allowing the power of the Creator to shine upon you and in you. Visualizing as if the beautiful sun's rays of iridescence comes in through the top of your head, filling your body with beautiful white iridescence. Allowing this light to flow through you, breathing in, pulling in more and more of this light. Every cell of your being awakened, activated into the co-creation, into source, fueling that spark of the Creator that is within you. Accept this. Breathe this in. Feel the power that flows through you from source. Connect and allow creation and universal consciousness to awaken. You're remembering of your power. Allow and accept that this power flows in you. Accept the love that flows to you. And as you breathe, accept that you are a powerful being, filled with light and with love and with magnificence that changes this world into a better place, into a place of peace and harmony. feeling the love overflow from you. Allow this love to fill you up, to overflow from you. And as we all unify our love, send this love out through the wind, through the waters, out to the four corners, out into the cosmos, washing through and over, changing and creating. Send it to the leaders of the world, the lawmakers. May it pierce their heart to see as the eagle flies from a higher perspective. Sending love to all our relations, to the two-leggeds, the four-leggeds, the multi-leggeds, the creepy-crawly things, the water nation, the swimming nation, the standing nation that gives us oxygen, the flying nation that sings us awake, and to the star nation